What is up, guys? Welcome back to Coltown. Today we are going over the new balance changes. I'm struggling to get there. No, wrong thing. Right. And then just talking about how it'll affect this past meta, if I thought they were good balance changes, and yada yada yada. Here they are. And of course, keep in mind that they did say they will be doing new balance changes every month from now on, so that is really nice as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and well, let me start off by saying I don't think these are bad balance changes. They're not what I expected at all, but Rumham is now helping with them in balancing, but I don't dislike it at all. The only thing that I really think they should have done is they should have nerfed Rascals just a little bit. Even if you're just reducing the DPS by just like 5%, or like taking away some of the Rascal Boys' health, any of those would have been fine, because it's just really strong in like everything, like not even log bait necessarily. Of course, it baits a log really well, but it's good even when it's not used as a log bait card, which means it's probably stronger than it should be. Which is funny because everyone was saying it was weak at first, but it's a very good card. Yeah. So Spear Goblins overall, 34% damage. They now one-shot skeletons, so they're now a graveyard counter as well. Hit speed slower by 0.5 seconds, so first attack is slower. So I think it said Musketeer and Baby Dragon take my voice cracked, can kill a Spear Goblin coming from a Spear Goblin hut without taking any damage from those. So I guess that means too now it'll be easier to like kill them before they get chip damage off. I mean, just all across the board, they're a little bit weaker now, which is good because that hurts every Spear Goblin, like Spear Goblins by themselves, Goblin Gang. And it hurts Hut, but the Hut, I guess, does do more chip damage now because you only need one hit before the Spirit Goblin dies anyway. But now the Hut has a shorter lifetime, so it trades better with, like, if they poison it, you can get a lot more value out of that now. If you Fireball, you get more value now. But it will be a little bit more of a chip and a poison bait. But it'll be worse on defense because if Spear Goblins start stacking, they now do less DPS overall. So I think it's a good change, though. It's a unique way of balancing the card, something we haven't seen before. Usually when you nerf a card, you just lower the DPS. You don't really. But I mean, Spear Goblins are delicate because they're in so many different cards, and I think that was really well done, honestly. I'm okay with that change. So Mega Knight jump spawn damage plus 23%. And area damage minus 7.5%. So overall a buff, especially because the main thing you're looking with Mega Knight is to like get that impact damage. So weaker than it was originally, but it should be back into the meta, like at least in some decks. Because before, I mean, recently it hasn't been used at all. So it should be viable now. Barbarians hit speed faster, 1.5 to 1.4. So I guess the 4 Barbarians get better. Barbhut's a little bit better on defense maybe. But the Battle Ram, which is the next change, can be knocked back by Barbarian, Barrel, the Log, etc. So that means also Fireball and Bowler, maybe? It says etc. So I don't know for sure. But if Fireball and Bowler knock it back, that's a pretty big nerf overall, because the Barb buff isn't all that huge. And usually the Battle Ram benefits from a hit speed increase the least of all the Barb cards, because it's only popping out and giving maybe like 1 or 2 swings, like not. Because usually it's the RAM and the HP that you're utilizing the most. Not necessarily, well, I mean, the HP of the Barbs afterwards, but they're usually not getting a ton of swings once they pop out. So that's gonna be a Battle Ram nerf overall, for sure. Rogue Ghost, quite a big nerf. 0.4 seconds on the invisibility delay. So they still think it's too strong. I'm indifferent about this. I do think, I mean, it is good, but now it's even worse, and it just got nerfed the previous balance. So we'll see. Okay, so Wizard. So it's an interesting debate I had like on Twitter and stuff. People are like, oh, well, Wizard and Valkyrie already use a ton on ladder, which I guess is true, but they're rares, so it's not like they're like an elite Barbs or something where they're just going to be broken. I mean, like, for example, Mega Minion is a way better card, and it's a rare that you can actually use in competitive play as well. But I guess Wizard and Valkyrie are just a little bit easier to use effectively. You throw them down on defense and they get value. If you don't know how to like properly counter them, they're harder, I guess. But I mean, the whole concept behind these buffs, Mega Knight, Wizard, and Valkyrie, is to buff area of effect cards that do area damage, to nerf the swarm meta. So if more I don't know about Wizard. Area or damage radius is cool, but I mean, it already has a really large radius. I'm surprised. I mean, they did buff the damage a little bit, but I'm really looking at Valkyrie. Valkyrie is kind of, I think, going to take up, because like people are like, oh well, you don't see Knight being used anymore. Well, no, because it got a pretty big nerf. It got a health nerf, which is one of the main uses. So now Valkyrie is kind of in an alternative that does area splash damage, and it got a really big buff. A tank getting a 7% hit point increase is pretty huge, and the first attack is faster, so you instantly get that spin. And that's like, if it's, I mean, it depends on how much faster it spins, but when you first play it down, it used to be like, it would take a beating before it actually killed everything. But now it's like, kills everything instantly, and then it's like, that's going to be even more health that it's going to have for counter pushes. It's not necessarily an offensive card like Dark Prince, but it's going to get more defensive value. It counters more things more effectively than Dark Prince. Like Graveyard, it's way better against. It's less awkward against like Goblin Gang. So stuff like that. So I really do think Valkyrie will be good after this. Probably in like Log Bait, if that's still more of a thing. Maybe like Minor. Maybe Giant. I don't know. Just has like a decent support card. We'll have to see, but I do think it'll be strong. And then Ice Golem finally getting a nerf. Hit point hits down by 5%, which is a pretty big nerf. They're bringing these mini tanks in line. So we'll see. I still think it'll be strong. I mean, Graveyard, it's almost mandatory because it's a cheap tank. But I kind of like the Ice Golem, so I don't like this nerf. But overall, I do think, I mean, obviously this is a nerf to Swarm. Swarm isn't going to be as strong. But I don't know how big of a change it will be, because like Mega Knight, for example, was using Zap Bait decks a ton primarily, and that may be back. Hut got a nerf. Overall, I think Graveyard got a nerf because both Graveyard Hut is like the best Graveyard deck right now. Nothing else is really all that good. And Spear Goblins are a counter now. Valkyrie is a counter to Graveyard, and Goblin Hut is a counter. And Graveyard is typically pretty good against bait. So, I mean, that's weaker. I mean, I don't know how much weaker bait will be, because I don't see any of these buffs as being like massive. It's cool that they're bringing like unused cards into the line, but I do think that like Minion Horde, I understand it's hard to balance it, but they could do something similar to like Spear Goblins to balance out minions. Maybe, I don't think minions getting better. Like they could either just remove one of the Minion Horde minions, or they could buff minions and make Minion Horde like 6 elixir, because they're the same card. Those are just thoughts we had. We discussed it like a couple of pro players. But, yeah, so I do think, I mean, but bear in mind that new balance changes are coming next month. So if they mess it up if it's not perfect this time, you don't have to wait that long anymore, because they're doing balance changes 12 times a year, once a month, which is really nice. I'm really happy they're doing that now. But I do like the creative way of balancing, because usually it's like, oh, I mean, something is always going to be OP, right? Like, you're always going to have to buff and nerf. Oh, mainly nerf. The OP cards. Everyone calls for nerfs. No one calls for buffs, because they just don't want to see what has been beating them, or what has been dominant that they don't like playing against. So you're seeing a lot of buffs to things that do good against the things that people want to nerf. So it's a different approach, and I'm not gonna hate on it until it proves to be ineffective. I do think the buffs are a little bit on the weak side. Like, I don't know, if you want to buff Wizard, you could have done more to make it better. Valkyrie, I think, will come in line. Ghost was good in this meta, and they nerfed it a little bit, so that'll be interesting. But overall, I give this like a B. I would have liked to see Rascals get a nerf, even though it's so early. Minion Horde definitely needs a nerf, but other than... Oh, and Prince. Prince is the big one that I forgot to mention. Prince deserves a nerf. Dark Prince already got one. Prince is going to be even... If bait is not used anymore, if Swarm isn't used anymore, that's the Prince's best counter, and it's good in this meta, like really good. So if they don't have if Swarm fades out of meta, Prince is gonna be so dumb. So I'm looking for him to get nerfed next balance update. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Those are just my speculations. Feel free to discuss it in the comments. Strong decks moving forward. Maybe Minor Control will be a little bit back. I think this will help Lava Hound come back and be more effective. I think like Giant since Giant Double Princess is still going to be so good, and maybe now you can run more of the minor variants and less triple spell. Well, we'll just have to see. Yeah, and then I guess Mega Knight could be back. And yeah, Spirit Goblins got nerfed, so that's good for that. That is a nerf to Swarm. And then yeah, maybe we'll see some Wizard and Valkyrie, but mainly Valkyrie, I would think. And we'll have to see what she comes out in. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I will discuss it with you in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.